What's up guys, it's Sean and welcome to another episode of the iherng podcast. As always, this episode is brought to you by Bottoms Lab. They are the go-to wardrobe for me right now every time I go for property reviews because they are presentable, they are comfortable, they are versatile. Loving it, right? If you want to get yours, do hit the link below. And today we will answer a question from EJ. Hi Sean, thank you for choosing to go through my email. I have been binge watching your videos a few years ago since I was in uni. And I am writing to get your views on whether is it the right time for me to get an investment property. I'll break it down into 4 parts: facts, local market findings, individual conditions, and macroeconomics. Wow, it feels like it really feels like an assignment. Number 1, facts. This is a project in the middle of Old Klang Road, just started and will be completed in 4 years time. Commercial project under HDA, 600 over units in total. So the net price after discount is around 600,000, which is around 680 per square feet. Monthly loan is around 2,400 per month. Most fees included except MOT and another small fee. So in total need to fork out another 15,000 for it. Management fees is 38 cents per square feet, so it's around 350 ringgit per month. No booking fees, so I am now trying my luck with bank loans. Number 2, local market finding. So these are some of my findings plus agent advice. The current project at Old Klang Road is with decent reputation, so it's around 700 per square feet. Rental rates at Old Klang Road is 2003 to 2008, so it has the potential to cover most of the loan installment. The number of projects at Old Klang Road proves its strategic location and high demand. However, it also causes price war and huge competition in finding tenants. So the pros is you got new projects, so you got discount, so less deposit. It also smack in the middle of a very prime Old Klang Road, lower density compared to others. Developer also has a good track record. Well, for the cons, the competition is real. I drove past Old Klang Road at night a few times, and max you get around 40% of windows being lit. And there are still so many other new projects coming soon. So this makes me feel like Old Klang Road is oversupply, and not just currently but even when the demand goes back to normal. Third, individual condition. You talk about this often and it is actually my biggest concern. I am turning 26 this year, living with my family in Shah Alam. Currently working as a project engineer in an infrastructure company in Shah Alam. Base pay is 3,008, 600 for travel and around 200 in OT allowances. Commitments are PT/PTN and credit card, which I pay full each month. Been working for 2.5 years, don't really have much savings yet. Mostly in unit trusts and ETFs. The infra industry as a whole is pretty stagnant. Past year raise from the company also doesn't look optimistic. If I take up the loan, I am left with 1,005 each month after paying PT/PTN. My past expenses record shows that I need around 2,000 ringgit for the others, such as insurance, petrol, food and sinking fund. If the interest creep back to normal rates, the money loan amount could go up to 3,000 per month. The huge competition surrounding Old Klang Road makes me doubt its potential to raise rental up to cover a 3,000 loan installment. Currently, the worst case scenario for me, unable to rent out within 2 years of VP where my salary is still around the current level. That's assuming interest rate in 2026 goes up to 3.75 repayment of renovation. For example, 60,000 for makeover guys installment, it will be around 2,005 per month. And management fees included, that will be 5,300 per month. I will need to have around 7,500 salary to survive. Unfortunately, I do not expect to get to that level by 2026. Currently, the banks gives around 80% loan for this unit based on my DSR score. If 90%, they will need me to join the loan name with my parents. My old folks are supportive and willing to fork out an additional 10% as down payment for me. I will be paying them slowly, but this will only lower a bit of loan installment by around 300 ringgit. Easier to afford, but the numbers and ROI will still be the same. Number 4, macroeconomics. Long story short, it's a bull market. As we recover from the pandemic, white-collar workers will flood in, demand will surge, Old Klang Road prices will go to the moon again. Owners will then have the option to sell and cash out on capital gains. However, the opposite saying that Old Klang Road is already too saturated and there isn't much room for capital gains. So in conclusion, I am in a dilemma as part of me is FOMO for losing out on a chance of getting an Old Klang Road unit. I have seen about 5 sales gallery and met with 3 agents now, so it's still some way to go from your advice of visiting 20 sales gallery. But so far it's the best offer I've seen. As my parents said, you will never have enough to be ready to buy a property, so grab a good offer. The first few years It will be very painful financially, but it is like that one. Another part of me is to be more concerned about my safety margins and don't want to overestimate my pay in the future. Another saying is focus on my current affordability, and there will be more opportunities even in Old Klang Road too. So steady a bit, bro. Would love to get your thoughts on my situation. So the main question is, should I invest in a property in a prime location if I am single, upper B40 salaryman? Apologies for such a long essay, but I feel context matters, and as I am hung between a fresh grad and a middle class salaryman, and I'm not optimistic about my salary in the near future. Best regards, EJ. Phew. Okay, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much, EJ, for all the context, right? So let's break down one by one. First of all, looking at the facts, right? The only attractive point to me that why you are interested in this project, it's not that it's below market value. So like you say, the market rate there is around 680 to 700,000, and you're getting a unit that is around 680 per square feet. So per square feet wise, I think you're buying at market value. So it's very easy for you to think that, oh, 4 years later, most likely the property price is going to go up, right? And my first question will be then, why Old Klang Road? What's the obsession with that location? Because honestly speaking, I don't think that it's a prime. It's a convenient location, no doubt. It's very close to Mid Valley, very close to Federal Highway. You can go to PJ very easily. But is it prime, and how do you define prime? There's a lot of people confirm there's a lot of commercial units because there's a lot of people confirm it's connected, yeah. But the main intention, again, like I think you are being swamped by too many different information and you are kind of biased. So deep down, I really think that fact number one, is it the zero booking fee that you are interested in? And that thought of just paying 15,000 for a property in Old Klang Road. Personally, based on the email, I think that's the case for you. You are so attracted to the low entry cost. Then the second point, you spoke to a few agents. So in total, you speak to like 3 agents, and to me that's not enough. And there's nothing wrong with speaking to agent. Of course, they will present you with facts, but it's always curated because ultimately what they want is your booking fee and transaction. Nothing wrong with that, right? It's a business after all. But you have also your findings. So I personally think that all the cons, right, that is mentioned, like higher views has higher potential for tenants that likes views. Then this project is actually lower in density. Then it's also smack right in the center of Old Klang Road. And all those kind of thing doesn't feel like you, EJ, but the cons feels like you. Like you go and check out, like, okay, when you go and check the lights, it's only like 40% lit. That's facts, right? So those are the demand situation in Old Klang Road. And for your individual condition, I think by 26, right, you're earning 3,008. I think it's normal for an engineer because engineer, especially in the technical field, so it will grow only when experience and wisdom comes in. After you have witnessed the completion of several different projects, then only your value will kick in. And being an engineer, we talk about safety factors, and I think you highlighted a lot. Like here, you think that in the future, maybe the interest will go up a little bit, then it will be 3,000 a month. And is it possible to fetch a 3,000 rental for the unit that you just booked? Then you also calculated, you extended including the renovation from the makeover guy. So in total, you need around 5,300 a month. With that kind of commitment, you will need a 7,000 salary by 2026, which is in 4 years' time. Is that even possible? And now you also mentioned that the banks only gives you 80% because of your DSR. So if you want 90%, then your parents will need to help you, and they are helpful. So they are willing to help you with a 10%. And that made me figure out that this, honestly, it's not for you. Let me tell you why. The red flag here is when banks even think that you cannot afford the loan. They have the risk profile done by so many different softwares, so many different experts in telling them whether this person can afford the loan for his future or not. And they mentioned to you that they are only confident to 80% of loan. Indirectly, it means that you cannot afford the property. And you have great parents, let me tell you that straight, right? They are willing to even cough out the first 10% for you so you can pay less. And in 10% here means around 60 over 1,000, and that made me think, why not, right? why not we use that money for a different purpose? Then from your fourth point, you think that it's a bull market as we recover, so you have the option to sell or cash out later in the market when market is good, when the borders are open, and all this narration doesn't really feel like you. But again, right, you admitted yourself that you are in a FOMO situation, but your parents are cool, so they said that you will never have enough to buy a property. That's so cool. How I wish my parents actually tell me that. So this is my take, right? So I personally do not think that you should take up the property for several reasons. Number one, you have not cleared the 4 basic steps. For an investment property, right? What we look at will be rental returns and the existing market price and transacted price. Then only we reach to step 2, which is to visit 20 different properties. And a lot of people think that it's okay to just visit 20 different new properties. I would like to correct that statement, because like now when you say you don't have savings, all your savings are in ETF and mutual bonds, right? So I can understand and I really relate to that, because when I was then, the only choice was new property. I got no money, bro. So the rental rates currently is around 2003 to 2004, which just nice can cover the lowest interest rate ever in the decade. And you put the tenure to the longest, which is 35 years, right? So with that situation, only you can break even. Then based on your own observation, 40% of most of the apartments are tenanted or used, so that somewhat indicates the demand for projects around that area. But the biggest red flag is that the banks tells you that you cannot afford the loan. For 90% loan, you cannot afford, right? It tells you something. I know that your parents are kind enough to help, and that leads me to the next point. Since your parents are okay to help with the initial capital, if you go and look at sub-sales market around Old Klang Road, I think you will find way better deals than that. Because Millers are up, Bloomsfield are coming up, Pearl Residence is up, you look in Verve Suites existing data, there are so many data. There's one more next to the river as well. So those are the existing data that I wish that you go and check it out first. Because ultimately, who can promise you that the property price will appreciate in value? I think like now the entire narration of your email is just telling that, hey, now borders open already, everybody will come in, then market will be good, then when the market is up, then you can choose whether you want to sell or you want to just hold whatsoever, right? It's an absolute contrast to whatever the cons that you write. And the cons feels like you, the pros does not. How about we play within what you can afford? Because you are only 26. Right? 26, still first job, I think, and based on the increment, then suddenly you have this awareness that salary is not moving, maybe I need to change. How about taking up insurance? How about taking up MLMs? How about taking up a side gig? How about doing videos? How about pursuing my passion? Maybe monetizing it one day. Then until it happens, then I need to take a year off from my job, and can I afford it then? So now I would suggest you to do that instead. Don't get the property because it's pretty obvious that you cannot afford. You have such loving parents, thank them for it, bring them for a good makan and pay for the bill. That's step number 1. Step number 2, go shop around properties within the range that you can really afford, which is like 500-ish. And I know where your parents come from. Is the properties that you want, is you always cannot afford when you want that. But that kind of applies to own stay. If you're building a home with your wife, fine. You want to have a kid, fine, right? So you work harder. You take that house as a motivation to work every single day. How about we just work with that imaginary motivation? Because now when you say you don't even have savings yet, do you have emergency fund? So I assume that's your parent right now at 26, right? I don't expect you to have a lot of money lah. Then what if one day a friend comes to you with this NFT project that, hey, everybody just cough in 50,000 so you can be part of this website building, and we get artists and we come up with the idea and we start selling online. No capital. Then suddenly the boss thinks that you are sneaking around, then he get a manager on top of you, and the manager is such a terrible one. Then now you feel like quitting, but the market is soft, so you cannot shift anywhere. But when the installment amounts kicks in, you are doomed. You are tied down. Now every time you want to make a shift in career change, you want to do differently, you cannot, because ultimately what's tying you down is the installment. And I don't think that's worth it. You are at the prime time of your career. 26 to 30 is where you start discovering yourself. How are you so sure infrastructure engineering is your thing? Is it really your thing? And let's say if you are given an opportunity to go overseas, because since borders are open, like you said, you are able to venture into different things, maybe banking, maybe bubble tea shop, maybe whatsoever. Like, I think you get the point. Now you are going into a commitment that's about to tie you down for the next 35 years, leaving you with such anxiety, thinking that I need to make 6 to 7,000 by 2026. If not, I cannot afford the loan. Yes, most probably you will rent out, but whatever capital appreciation, whatever money that you're going to make, right? Who can promise you that? But what's more guaranteed to the person selling to you is the commission when you sign on the dotted lines. And I know if your parents can afford it, why not leverage, right? I agree that statement. If my parents are filthy rich, right? I want to mention, mommy, I want to mention. Of course, right? But I wouldn't want to mention. I want 3 more apartments that can rent out and generate positive cash flow. But that's beside the point. Embrace that support from the family and instead use that for better. Like now, I will go for a 450,000 or a 380,000 apartment within Taman Desa, Old Klang Road or Happy Garden site that can rent out, immediately generate cash flow, and even if I lose my job, the property can flow itself. Because applying the teaching from last time is a bit different really, because we don't see a huge spike in capital appreciation for a very long time. You look into the new properties, for example, Millers. If you have friends who bought Millers, you have friends who bought new projects, right? Ask them, did the price increase? Most likely, if not mistaken, the prices currently during VP is going to be lower, way lower than their SPA price, because it takes time to correct the valuation. How about you also look at new projects that have been handed over, ask whether are there remaining stocks available. I think that is also a different strategy where you can somewhat enjoy all the marketing perks of a new project and get something existing ready. So with existing data, you save all the construction interest and it's more straightforward. And with that, right, you don't have to really think like, oh, 2026 I need to make 7,000. How. A trick that I do back then when I was working in a corporate is to look upwards. Like your immediate superior will take like maybe 2 to 3 years for you to climb there. So 2 to 3 years time, your immediate superior, is that the position that you want? And is that the salary that you want as well? In 3 to 5 years time, what can you achieve to reach there? Or is there a better way to achieve your monetary goals? Because it really sounds like you don't need the property, but you just want it because it's a good deal. And your definition of good deal is 0 booking fee and 15,000 to own a property that is around 6 to 700,000. That's not a definition of a good deal. What I can say is what you are getting, it's the market price. It's not some crazy good deal. If you're 34 today, maybe I will say yes, right? If you are 34, I might say yes. But you are 26. There's so many other things that you can do. And with the current technologies that is available, social media can make you, like TikTok can make you famous instantly if you know how to make videos lah. It's so easy to set up e-commerce, it's so easy to set up brands, affiliation, anything basically to make money online. Also, you haven't gone through the quarter life crisis. That is somewhat a thing among my NFT members lah. So all of them, like suddenly when I was 25, 26, I don't know what I want to do. I know I'm stuck in work and it's boring. And I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I have no passion at all. People chill me to go out and drink. I also no feel like, yeah. And 26. So maybe I would suggest to have flexibility as your top priority when you're 26. How about you explore into different investments first before property? For example, crypto, DeFi, NFTs, stock market. Yes, those are way riskier, but you don't have to commit 35 years of life into it. Because it's just not worth it, right? To steal your future life around a decision you make for a property. Because that commitment is going to drive your career, not you making your own decisions. Whatever question, got money or not? Whatever question, right? What's the salary? Whatever question, no money. Whatever vacation, no money. Because need to pay for the house. Not worth it, bro. And trust me, 2 years later or 3 years later, when the property is going to be completed, then only you buy, you won't lose out a lot. Seriously. And what's the rush of getting a property now? You're only expecting profits in the future. Again, no one can promise you that. If the person is promising you that, right? Did the person buy? if I know that the property is going to be bull run, it's going to appreciate 10 or 20% or 50%, right? Don't you think I'm going to silang everything inside? I'm going to buy 10, 20, 30 units upfront? And is that guy doing that? Right? So from a big brother to you, bro, don't get it, it's not worth it now. Again, it's because you are 26. Go mess around, explore yourself a little bit for the next 3 years and do an experiment of having that imaginary commitment. Like now, you don't have savings. You expect to have savings later when you have a house? No, right? So try to lock yourself down an amount of savings every month. Build that emergency fund first. And since you have the record showing that you need around 2,000 a month, by end of 2022, have 6 months to 7 months of that as your emergency fund. So it's around, let's say 2005, like we push up a little bit because inflation, right? 2005, 6 months you will need around 15,000. So by year end 2022, have 15,000 in your bank account. Then next year, let's talk about investment in properties. Okay, so by then, do email back to me, say, Sean, show me you have 15,000 in your savings account. Well, I don't really care how you get it. Like you can either save it from your salary or you can invest in something and you hit jackpot or you go and buy a number, whatever lah. But to have that amount, then you can park aside. Then let's talk about property. Then. And for those who still have any questions regarding real estate, do just email me at taniherng@gmail.com, or you can just DM me on Instagram. I will try my very best to reply to all of y'all. And with that, thank you very much for watching. See you on the next one. Ciao.